Hey, this is Josh Jackson. I am here at the Jezebel Paste interview house here at High Noon in Austin, Texas during South by Southwest. And I am joined today by Nicolas Jack Davis, the director of Omar and Cedric. Welcome.
Oh, thanks for having me.
It's so great to have you here. I've just been enjoying your stories. I really, really, truly love the movie. Omar and Cedric, so at the drive-in, Mars Volta, iconic duo in the music world. How did you get involved in this project?
Omar had had this sort of been filming for a very, very long time in his life. Like, whether it's quite prescient that he did it, I don't know why. He just started filming as a kid. So I think for a long time there's been this building. This artist has this hard drive with loads of stuff on it that's quite random but very intimate, raw footage he accumulates over 30 years. And they were trying to find a director to do it. And they went through a few people, I think, and then eventually a producer suggested me to him. So I did an hour on the phone one day, and we got on, and then he said, I really like Nick, but I'm Latino, so I have to meet him. Otherwise, I'm not going to, or break bread, I think he said. So they flew me to Puerto Rico to meet him, which was amazing, really. But I just remember being in this incredibly bad sort of hurricane season thunderstorm trying to come into Puerto Rico, not knowing what to expect. And I basically spent a week with him in Puerto Rico and his family.
Oh, wow.
And instead of talking about the film, much to the sort of annoyance of producers who were trying to get it going, we just talked about like life and music and his understanding him and Cedric and everything they've been through. And then when I got home, he said, I'd love to make the film with Nick. So that was it started in a very sort of him letting us in, or me into his life in a trusting kind of human way, which is amazing. And that was 4 years ago.
Wow. Well, I say this. I mean, you did a great job taking what you got and turning it into a beautiful story, but you also got handed. I mean, it must have felt like winning the lottery when you're going through these tapes. I mean, the whole film is archival footage, and which you don't typically see in a music doc. You've always got the talking heads. You've got which pulls you out of the moment. This was a different experience in a music doc.
Well, that's very kind. Yeah, well, I think we shot the interviews, and they look great, and we're all very happy with them. And then because it went on for so long in terms of the edit, which was great, in terms of the film, we weren't rushed to do it, although, it would have been nice maybe to get it done a little quicker. I was just like, we don't need this, because the gold was in what he'd done with Cedric, what they'd made over the years, and actually putting anything new in there, although there's a couple of bits which are added that you might not notice, but I filmed to make it work. Mm-hmm. It felt like it undermined the fact that his archive that they created over 40 years was really what people want to see, and they don't want to see what the directors made. Do you know what I mean? And I felt quite happy to be like, no, let's get rid of this stuff. So we just binned it and made it all archival and made it just the two of them talking. They were the two sort of creative moves that really made the thing come together, and it becomes like, I guess a bit stream of consciousness at times. Sometimes it's very real, other times it's it's kind of artistic in places, and sometimes it's very access, and it just was kind of freed us up to be like, you just need to see or hear or feel what you need to see, hear or feel at that moment. So that's what helped us shape it, because it was a lot of footage in there. But it was amazing, and they're so honest. That's the thing, like I've never experienced in all the films I made with artists, there's no control. They're just like, well, is that the best thing? You'd ask them something, they'd be like, they'll just tell you. And I have so much respect for them for that. I've never met people so rawly authentic.
Well, it comes through in the movie. I mean, they are. It's a beautiful. I just have to call it a love story. I mean, it is a story of friendship. It's a story of life. It's a story of two people who've gone through deaths of band members, drug addiction. Every aspect of life, from joining the Church of Scientology and getting out of it, and bands getting success and breaking up. I mean, there's so much that's going on, and through it all, there is a sense of honesty and authenticity, and you feel like you've gotten to know these people.
Well, that's I think the best thing that could be said, I guess, about it from my side. Like, I think, we really wanted to make a film, myself with them, that where the music was the outcome of the life, not the life's the outcome of the music, because actually they didn't see it as, and they've got some mega fans, like serious fans, like proper, really out there in their fandom, and when I've spoken about it, I've been like, well, the idea was to make it like a human story, not a music film. Mm-hmm. It just so happens that the plot of the story happens in music, but really it's about, as you said, it's about these two sort of soulmates who genuinely are kind of past life friends, who I think are probably destined to meet in every lifetime there is possible.
It feels like, it definitely feels like that.
And it just so happens that this one they become, cult musicians a couple of times over, but they're, underneath all that stuff, it's really just about them and the sort of emerging car crash of their relationship, which they've spent quite a long time trying to get right again. And it really is just a very personal story, I think.
And it's interesting that you say that because that is how the movie feels. But your background is music, and most of the work that you've done is with musicians and music documentary and capturing live music. And can you tell us a little bit how you got into that and how this maybe differs from the things that you've done in the past?
Well, I think I'd always loved music films, whether that's biopics or documentaries, and I probably are frustrated. When I grew up, I wanted to be Slash from Guns N' Roses, or like that was probably more my thing. But like, I guess I found a way of being involved in music by going through film and television. So when there's no grand design, I basically got into it by my best friend worked at the BBC in London, and basically needed someone to drive the van for a shoot for a show called Top of the Pops, which is our big weekly show over the years, although sadly no more. So I just started driving the van, and then you drive the van, someone lets you in the office, and then you have to go and collect things for artists. So my first week I had a nosebleed in front of U2, which was the thing I remember the most, and because I had to take Larry Mullen Jr. white towels. Yeah. So I arrived in the dressing room. It was obviously a bit hot, and I just had this nosebleed on his white towels. So it's just me, U2, and their manager, and my streaming nose. And you have these you sort of work your way through it, and people need you to film stuff. What do you make a music video? We need to do this, and I just started directing by becoming part of that sort of music story, and then things open up for you, I guess. And then somewhere it's probably ordained, or that if you have to have the talent for it, I guess. And I hope I have some. But it's been a very organic journey, and usually based on personal relationships, not so much like pitch heavy.
And coming up a lot with Mumford & Sons was a big part of
So
that.
I started filming Mumford & Sons before they got even remotely popular. I think that would be all right with me saying that. In fact, the first time I filmed them, they played to 40 people at the Cambridge Folk Festival, and it was just the crappiest gig I remember ever. And we just started going on the road with them. And as I was, when you work with a young band, when you get into the music filming, you tend to work with new artists. When you catch one that then get massive, it's kind of amazing. You're sort of there filming, and you get to know other people. We met lots of other musicians, and then people think you're all right because you work with that band, and then you get other opportunities. So that was a really interesting one for me. But again, it was built like I consider them, and I'd hope they say the same, my friends. Yeah. Much like I hopefully now consider Omar and Cedric my friends, not, people that I work with. That's because kind of the way I've always made it, and therefore you can get behind or under the skin of who they are, in an honest way. So I did that, and then I've been very fortunate, I have to say, and because I love music, and I get to come places like this and feel like I'm in the music scene.
Well, this film is, I think it's a special film. Not a lot of people have gotten to see it yet. I think that you said there was one screening in London. We've got South by Southwest premiere tomorrow. What do you hope people take from this film when they see it?
I think the best thing that people could take from it is an understanding of how hard it is to stay together for a long period of time in any relationship, whether that's your wife, your best friend, brothers, sisters. And I think I would hope you take out of it those kind of universal sort of human elements, less so wow, that's a great music bit, or aren't they funny when they're taking crack? Which is funny, and they're very open about it. But I think the thing is they're just two very beautiful, very open human beings who've been through a lot, and I think it's something that everyone can relate to. Yeah, I certainly think. Someone said to me after the London screening, I watched it and I thought about all my ex-partners, and I was like, that's quite a nice thing to say, because it is hard. It's hard to grow old with someone, and I think they do it in their version of the public eye. It's tough.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. Well, yeah, I mean, it's a beautiful story of friendship, a story of friendship that has gone through trials and tribulations, and a creative partnership. And I think anybody who's done work with someone and gone through the ups and downs, I think will take a lot from this. So I just have to commend you on the job that you did with this very special story, and it has been fantastic to talk to you.
Oh, you too. Thanks for having me.
All right, thanks.